Today, we're getting into something really critical, tackling that frustrating challenge of personal saving.
It really is universal, isn't it?
Totally. We've all been there knowing we should save, but somehow the money just kind of slips away month after month.
It's that constant friction, you know? The idea seems simple, spend less than you earn, but real life, it's messy. Prices go up, unexpected bills hit.
Right, and there's just so much stuff trying to get our money all the time. It makes you feel like you need a huge raise just to get ahead.
Exactly. And that's often, well, not something you can just snap your fingers and make happen.
But the stuff we looked at for this deep dive really flips that idea on its head. It offers this key truth. You don't actually need to earn way more to save effectively.
It's more about changing how you handle the money you already have, shifting your habits.
That's the core of it. It's not about painful sacrifice necessarily, but more about optimizing things, getting smarter with your money.
And that's our mission today, right? We're pulling out 10 practical, realistic strategies, things you can actually do starting now.
Yeah, strategies based on small habit changes, not some massive income jump. These little tweaks build up over time.
They might seem small day to day, but stick with them for a year or two. That's where you see, significant lasting improvement in your finances.
So we're aiming to give you that high impact, actionable knowledge pretty quickly and thoroughly. No fluff. Think of it as the detailed shortcut to building a stronger financial base.
Let's jump in. Starting with phase I, diagnosis. You gotta know where you stand first.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Step one, and this one can be, a bit uncomfortable, but it's absolutely vital, tracking your spending.
It really is.
Yeah.
You just can't save money effectively if you don't truly understand where it's going right now.
And our sources are pretty insistent on this. It has to be the starting point, the diagnostic tool.
Yeah, it's like the moment of truth. Most of us kind of operate on, estimates, right? Just rough guesses about where the money goes. Behavioral economists call it mental accounting.
Which is often, let's be honest, wildly optimistic.
Totally. So the core action here is about getting granular. For one full week, you need to write down every single expense, no matter how small.
And we mean everything, not just the big rent payment or the utility bill.
Nope. It's the $5 coffee on Monday morning.
The $8 delivery fee for Tuesday night's pizza.
That $3 parking meter you almost forgot about. All of it.
Why is tracking those tiny things so important? They seem almost insignificant.
Well, that's the trap, isn't it? They're insidious. That's the word used a lot in the source material.
Yeah.
Because they're small, they don't trigger that psychological pain of paying.
Yeah, right. Especially with cards, you just tap and it doesn't feel like real money.
Exactly. It doesn't register as a big hit, so you forget it instantly. But add up all those little taps over a month, that's where the budget gets completely derailed.
So you track like crazy for a week. Then what? What happens when you actually sit down and look at that list?
That's usually the aha moment, or maybe the oh no moment.
Probably a bit of both.
Right. The realization can be pretty staggering. The sources had loads of examples, people finding out they spent way more on random takeout or little online purchases than on their actual groceries for the month.
Wow. That kind of misalignment, you can't fix it if you don't even know it's happening.
Precisely. You need the hard data, the numbers right there in front of you to see the reality of your cash flow.
Okay, but tracking everything sounds like a massive chore. Do you need fancy software or complicated spreadsheets for this? What's practical?
The sources were pretty down to earth on this. The best method is simply the one you'll actually stick with.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So for this initial tracking week, maybe just a simple notes app on your phone works best. Or even a tiny physical notebook you carry around.
Really? A notebook?
Sometimes that friction of physically writing it down makes you more aware than an app that just imports transactions automatically. The goal at first isn't perfect automation. It's building that awareness muscle.
Okay, awareness first, then maybe you can level up the tools later.
Exactly. Once you've tracked, you've done the diagnosis, you see where the money's leaking out.
Right. Which leads us straight from diagnosis to the prescription. That's step 2, making a budget, creating your financial roadmap.
Yes, the budget is where you shift from passively watching your money disappear to actively deciding where it goes.
So instead of where did my money go, it's okay, money, here's where you will go.
That's it. The roadmap analogy is perfect because you're assigning every dollar a job, a destination.
So walk us through the process. How do we build a budget that actually works beyond just, income minus bills?
Okay, first step, get a clear picture of your total monthly income. All sources, even the irregular ones if you can estimate an average.
Got it. Income first.
Second, list out all those regular fixed expenses, rent or mortgage, insurance, loan payments, maybe minimums on debts, essential transport costs, the must-pays.
The non-negotiables.
Right. Then, step 3, and this takes real discipline, is deciding intentionally right at the start how much you're going to allocate to savings before you figure out the rest.
Ah, the classic pay yourself first principle. That's crucial. But what if someone listening feels like there's genuinely nothing left over to save?
That's a fair point. Even then, the act of deciding to save something matters. Maybe it's literally just $10 or $20 to start.
Just to build the habit.
Exactly. You establish the habit, the priority of saving, even if the amount is tiny initially. The budget isn't about setting some impossible, huge savings goal right away. It's about creating the structure.
Okay, that makes it less intimidating. And it shouldn't feel like a straitjacket either, right?
Absolutely not. A budget needs to be flexible. It's not a prison sentence. Life happens.
Yeah, sometimes you overspend.
Right. If you blow your eating out budget one week, the budget, your roadmap shows you, okay, maybe you need to pull back a bit on, say, entertainment the next week to stay on track overall.
So it allows for adjustments.
Yes. Mid-course corrections, it stops financial management being a total guessing game and turns it into more of a controlled feedback loop. You're aware, you're intentional.
Okay, so we've got our map, our budget. Now let's zoom in for phase 2. This is about tackling those everyday habits, the behavioral traps that kind of drain our finances without us noticing.
Right, the daily leaks.
And we start with the big one, step 3, cooking at home more often.
This comes up everywhere in the source material. It's consistently identified as like one of the single biggest money drains for so many people.
We're talking lunches out, coffee shop runs, dinners delivered,
Yep.
all that prepared food.
Exactly. The cost just piles up incredibly fast.
Let's run those numbers again because they're stark. A $10 lunch 5 days a week.
That's $50 a week right there. $200 a month, roughly.
Over a year, that's, wow, $2,400.
Yeah. And that $2,400 could be a decent vacation, a big chunk of an emergency fund, or paying down debt faster.
Compared to cooking.
The comparison is usually pretty dramatic. Making a similar quality meal at home, especially if you buy ingredients smartly, often costs maybe, $3 or $4 a serving? Sometimes less.
Even factoring in your time, the saving is huge and immediate.
Definitely. But there's that hurdle, isn't there? After a long day, you're tired. Cooking feels like effort. Ordering in is just easy.
So true. What did the sources say about getting over that hump, that path of least resistance thing?
They pinpointed decision fatigue. You're tired. Your willpower's low. Making another decision about food feels hard.
So the solution isn't just cook more.
No. The practical solution is meal prepping. Spend maybe a couple of hours on, say, Sunday. Make 5 portions of something simple and healthy: chili, pasta sauce, roasted veggies, and chicken.
And then during the week.
Then the decision is already made. The cheap, healthy option is right there in the fridge, ready to heat up. The mental effort needed to choose it is basically zero. You beat the urge to splurge on expensive takeout because the easy option is the homemade option.
That's smart. You're outsourcing the decision to your less tired self. Okay, love
Yeah.
that. Now, shifting from the kitchen to shopping habits. Step 4, avoiding impulse buying.
Ah, yes, the unplanned purchase. This is all about emotion, isn't it?
Totally. You see something shiny or it's on sale or the ad just gets you.
Right. It's that immediate hit of satisfaction. It feels good in the moment, but it's the enemy of intentional spending because, well, it wasn't planned for in the budget.
So what's the tool? How do we fight that urge?
The sources consistently highlighted one main technique: the mandatory cooling off period, the 24-hour rule.
Okay, how does that work exactly?
Simple. You see something you want online in the store, wherever, you don't buy it immediately. You force yourself to wait a full 24 hours.
Just put it on pause for a day.
Yep. It's a deliberate way to inject friction, to break that instant gratification loop.
And why does waiting 24 hours actually work? What's the psychology?
It lets that initial emotional rush, the dopamine spike from seeing something new and desirable, fade away. Your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, gets a chance to catch up.
Ah, so you can think more clearly about whether you actually need it or just wanted it in that moment.
Precisely. When you revisit the idea 24 hours later, that urgency is usually gone. Often the item just doesn't seem as essential or appealing anymore. Sometimes you've forgotten about it completely.
I've definitely done that with online shopping carts. Add stuff, close the tab, come back later and think, meh.
It works. And the potential savings are huge. Think about it. Stop just say 4 impulse buys a month, maybe $25 or $50 each.
That's easily hundreds, maybe even thousands saved over a year, just from that one habit.
It's a high leverage tactic for protecting your budget from those emotional spending traps.
Okay, now let's talk about how we pay, because this gets into some really interesting behavioral stuff. Step 5, using cash instead of cards.
Right, this brings us back to that pain of paying concept we touched on earlier.
It feels different, handing over actual bills versus just tapping a piece of plastic.
It really does. When you use physical cash, you see the resource leaving your hand. It's tangible. That physical act creates a little moment of mental friction, makes you pause and think, is this purchase worth this specific amount of money I'm holding?
Whereas cards, especially contactless,
Yeah.
it's almost too easy, isn't it?
Completely frictionless. The transaction feels abstract, distant. You're just dealing with numbers on a screen or a receipt. The ouch doesn't hit until maybe the credit card statement arrives weeks later.
And by then, the spending is long done.
Exactly. That lack of friction just encourages more spending, often thoughtless spending. So the advice is to try using cash specifically for your variable spending categories.
Okay, so things like groceries, entertainment, maybe clothes, coffee.
Yeah, those discretionary areas where you tend to have more control or where impulse buys might happen. Using cash for those forces you to be more mindful.
But let's be realistic. We live in a world that's increasingly cashless. You can't pay your rent or mortgage in cash usually. Utilities are auto-paid.
That's a really important distinction. The sources aren't suggesting going 100% cash only for everything.
Yeah.
That's just not practical for most people today.
Okay, so how do you apply it then?
It's more about using cash as a training tool for those variable discretionary parts of your budget. The actionable challenge is this. At the start of the week, take out a specific amount of cash allocated for, say, your food and fun money for that week.
And then you try to stick only to that cash.
Yes. Commit to using only that physical cash for those categories. It creates a very real hard limit. Your brain understands, okay, when this cash is gone, it's gone for the week. It makes spending feel finite again, not like an endless digital stream.
That reframes it nicely. It's a targeted strategy, not an all or nothing thing. Okay, now let's hit another big one, a modern budget killer. Step 6, canceling unused subscriptions.
The silent killers. We have to talk about the salami slicing effect here.
Salami slicing.
Yeah, it's how companies rely on us ignoring lots of small automated monthly charges.
Yeah.
That $12.99 for a streaming service, $9.99 for a music app, maybe $19.99 for some fitness app you use twice.
Individually, they seem pretty small, right? No big deal.
Exactly. But add 5 or 6 or 10 of them together, suddenly you're looking at $50, even $150 a month, just vanishing on autopilot for things you might not even be using anymore. It's death by 1,000 tiny cuts.
And the hassle of finding them all and canceling, sometimes it feels easier to just let them run until you look at your statement and go, whoa.
Right. So the practical step here needs to be rigorous. First, you have to go through your recent bank and credit card statements, line by line. Look specifically for those recurring charges.
Many banking apps help with this now, categorizing recurring payments.
They do, which makes it easier. Find them all. Then, the crucial question. Have I actively used this service in the last month? Maybe 30 days.
And if the answer is no,
Cancel it.
Yeah.
Immediately. Don't fall into the, oh, but I might use it next month crap. That's called option value, keeping it just in case. But that option has a real monthly cost.
good point. You can always resubscribe later if you genuinely miss it.
Exactly. The priority is to stop the bleeding now. Get rid of the stuff you're definitely not using.
What about optimizing the ones you do use and want to keep? Any tips there?
Yeah, definitely. First, look for redundancy. Do you really need 3 different movie streaming services at the same time? Maybe rotate them, subscribe to one for a few months, then switch.
Okay, consolidation. What else?
Check if they offer an annual payment option. Almost all major services give you a discount, sometimes like 15–20% if you pay for a year up front instead of monthly. If you know you'll use it all year, that's instant savings right there.
Smart. And share.
Yeah, if the service terms allow it, look into family plans or sharing accounts with trusted friends or family to split the cost. Just make sure you're following their rules. Okay, moving into phase 3. We've tackled habits. Now let's look at optimizing things we have to buy anyway. Food, household stuff, getting around.
Right. These are necessary expenses. We can't eliminate them, but we can get smarter about how we spend on them.
Exactly. The focus shifts from cutting out to maximizing value.
Which brings us neatly to step 7, buying in bulk. But, and this is a big but from the sources, you have to do it smartly.
Oh, absolutely. Buying the giant Costco-sized pack of everything is not always a saving. It can actually be a trap.
How so?
Well, bulk buying only saves you money if 2 conditions are met. 1, the price per unit, like per ounce, per roll, per pound, is actually lower than the smaller package. You got to check that.
Okay, check the unit price. What's condition 2?
You have to actually use all of the product before it goes bad or you get sick of it.
Right. So what are good things to buy in bulk?
Think non-perishables that you use consistently and have a long shelf life. Things like rice, dried pasta, canned tomatoes, beans, toilet paper, paper towels, soap, laundry detergent. Stuff you know you'll get through.
Makes sense. Stable items. What about things like fresh produce often on sale in big bags, that huge bag of onions or potatoes?
That's where you need to be careful. That's the sale trap.
Yeah.
If you buy a massive bag of avocados because they're half price, but then half of them go brown and mushy before you can eat them.
You didn't save 50%, you wasted 50% of your money. And the food.
Exactly. A bargain isn't a bargain if it ends up in the bin. So be honest with yourself about how quickly you'll use perishable items.
What about storage? Not everyone has a giant pantry or a chest freezer for all this bulk stuff.
That's a real constraint. If storage is tight, you have to be even more selective. Maybe focus bulk buying only on things that don't take up much space but you use a lot of, like soap refills or cleaning supplies, or things you go through really fast.
So it requires planning.
Definitely. And discipline at the store. The pro tip here is basic, but crucial. Make a detailed shopping list before you go, based on what you actually need and have space for. And then,
to go.
the checklist. Yes. Resist those tempting end cap displays of things you didn't plan to buy, even if they seem like a great deal.
Okay, good advice. Now for another major necessary expense, getting around. Step 8. Use public transport or walk more.
Transportation costs are often way bigger than people realize. We think about gas, sure.
But we forget about insurance, maintenance, repairs, registration fees, parking.
And the big silent killer, depreciation. Your car losing value every single day. It all adds up incredibly quickly.
So switching to public transport, if it's available and practical for your commute, can be a massive saving.
Huge. Especially in cities where parking alone can cost a small fortune. For urban dwellers, this is often one of the biggest potential savings areas.
But what about people who don't live in cities, where public transit is limited or non-existent? Is this advice still relevant?
It is, but the focus shifts. If you need a car, the goal becomes optimizing its use and minimizing its cost. Reducing dependency, maybe?
How would that look?
Well, things like planning your errands to combine trips or route optimization to save fuel. Being really diligent about regular maintenance to prevent bigger, more expensive breakdowns later.
Carpooling.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
If you can share rides to work or for school runs, that cuts costs significantly. And even just consciously choosing to walk or bike for shorter trips,
Yeah.
Under a mile or two, instead of automatically jumping in the car.
Right. Saves a bit of gas, but also wear and tear on the car, fewer oil changes, tires last longer.
Exactly. And the sources made a nice connection here, too. Choosing to walk or bike those short distances isn't just about saving money.
It's good for your health, obviously. Less pollution, too.
Right. So it's a win-win-win. Good for the wallet, good for your body, and a little bit better for the planet. It's multi-layered optimization.
All right, we've hit phase 4. This is all about making these changes stick for the long haul. Because let's face it, just saving money without a clear why can feel kind of pointless and restrictive after a while.
It really can. Motivation tends to fade if there's no target.
Which leads perfectly into step 9, setting clear saving goals.
This is so crucial. Saving just for the abstract idea of saving is hard to sustain. You need something concrete, something tangible to aim for, something with a bit of emotional pull.
Like what? What kind of goals work best?
The sources really emphasize making them SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
So not just, I want to save more money.
No, more like, I want to save $3,000 for an emergency fund by the end of this year. Or, I'm putting aside $500 every month specifically for a down payment on a car, aiming for $6,000 in 12 months.
That specificity makes it real, doesn't it? You can actually track your progress towards it.
Exactly. And seeing that progress, watching the numbers climb closer to your target is incredibly motivating.
Yeah.
It makes the daily discipline, like saying no to an impulse buy, feel worthwhile because you know why you're doing it.
Okay, so you set these clear goals. How do you structure your budget, your monthly money flow, to actually hit them without feeling totally deprived?
That's where having a good framework for allocating your money helps. The sources strongly recommended the 50-30-20 rule as a solid starting point.
Right, the 50-30-20 rule. Can you break that down for us again? How does it work in practice?
Sure. The idea is you divide your after-tax income into 3 buckets. 50% goes towards your absolute needs.
Okay, needs gain.
Rent or mortgage, essential utilities, water, electricity, basic internet, groceries, necessary transportation to work, insurance, minimum debt payments, the stuff you absolutely have to pay to live safely.
Got it. 50% for needs. What's the 30%?
30% is allocated to wants. This is the flexible category, things like eating out, entertainment, hobbies, new clothes you don't strictly need, streaming services beyond the basic, vacations.
The fun stuff, basically. But also the easiest place to cut back if needed.
Generally, yes. This category has the most discretion.
And the last 20%.
That remaining 20%, ideally, goes towards your financial goals. Savings, like that emergency fund or down payment, and paying off debt faster than the minimums.
Okay, 5 30 20. Sounds simple enough. But is it realistic for everyone? What if your needs already take up way more than 50% of your income?
That's a critical caveat and very common, especially in high-cost areas or for those just starting out. The 50-30-20 rule isn't meant to be a rigid, unbreakable law. It's more of a guideline, a target allocation to strive for.
So if you can only manage 5% or 10% for savings right now,
Then that's where you start. The key principle is the intentionality. Using the rule helps ensure you're consciously deciding how much goes to savings and debt first, rather than just saving whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month, which is often nothing.
makes sense. It prioritizes the future you. Okay, final step. And this one feels important for actually sticking with all this. Step 10. Reward yourself, but smartly.
Yes. This is the counterbalance. If saving feels like nothing but deprivation and constant sacrifice, you're eventually going to burn out, rebel, and probably go on a huge spending spree.
Totally undoing all your hard work.
Right. So, long-term success requires some positive reinforcement. You need to celebrate the milestones, reward the good habits, but the key is doing it thoughtfully, in a way that doesn't wreck your budget.
So how do you reward yourself without just, spending all the money you just saved?
Focus on rewards that provide satisfaction without a massive price tag. It's about experiences or optimizing what you have, rather than just buying more stuff.
Can you give some examples? What does a smart reward look like?
Okay, maybe instead of dropping $200 on a super fancy restaurant meal to celebrate hitting a savings goal, you spend $50 on some really nice ingredients. Good steak, fresh pasta, whatever you love, and have fun cooking an amazing high-quality meal at home.
Still feels special, but way less expensive.
Exactly. Or here's one from the sources I loved. Instead of buying new clothes as a reward, spend an afternoon really organizing your closet. Rediscover clothes you forgot you had, put together new outfits.
You get that feeling of newness and variety without spending a dime.
Right. It taps into that desire for novelty, but costs nothing. Or maybe the reward is simply enjoying a relaxing night in with a movie you already have access to, guilt-free, because you know you hit your savings target for the month.
It's about finding joy in things that aren't necessarily expensive.
It really is. Detaching happiness from the price tag. Ask yourself, what actually makes me feel good, feel rewarded? Often it's quality time, a sense of accomplishment, relaxation, or a nice experience, not just the amount of money spent. And honestly, watching your savings grow, seeing that emergency fund build up, that's a pretty powerful reward in itself. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow, okay, we covered a lot of ground there. 10 really solid strategies, moving all the way from figuring out where your money is going to actually making these habits stick.
Let's do a super quick recap. It started with getting real. Track every single expense.
Then give your money direction. Make an intentional budget, maybe using that 5-30-20 idea as a guide.
Fight the daily drains. Cook at home more often by prepping ahead.
Stop emotional spending. Use the 24-hour rule for impulse buys.
Feel the spend. Use cash for variable costs to increase awareness.
Cut the dead weight. Cancel unused subscriptions aggressively. Check for annual discounts too.
Optimize necessities. Buy in bulk, but smartly check unit prices. Only buy what you'll use.
Rethink getting around. Use public transport, walk more, or optimize car use if you need one.
Stay motivated. Set clear, specific, time-bound saving goals. Know your why.
And finally, don't deprive yourself. Reward your progress, but do it mindfully and affordably.
The big takeaway, the theme running through all of this from the sources, is pretty clear.
Yeah, what's the bottom line?
Financial improvement, getting ahead with savings, it's fundamentally a management issue, much more than just an income issue. It's about working smarter with what you already have.
These strategies don't require a lottery win. They're accessible right now. The hard part is just starting, right? Building that first habit.
Exactly. Consistency is everything.
So we'll leave you, the listener, with this final thought to chew on today. Pick maybe just 2 or 3 of these strategies that really resonated with you. Maybe it's the 24-hour rule, maybe it's tracking for just 1 week, maybe it's canceling 1 subscription tonight. If you commit to just those few small, specific changes consistently starting now, how much extra money do you genuinely think you could have saved, maybe in an emergency fund, maybe towards a goal you care about, say, 6 months down the line?
Run the numbers for yourself. Even small changes add up faster than you think.
It really does start today with that first small step, that first conscious decision. Thanks for diving deep with us.